Let's go ahead and get working, guys. We're gonna take that band, if you do have it, and we're gonna loop it around our ankles. So we're just above our ankle bones. We don't wanna be right on the joint. And we're gonna step our feet about 4 inches apart parallel. We're gonna go into a Pilates push-up. So step to the back side of your mat. We're gonna do this with a little combo for a squat this morning. Float the arms up and overhead. Lifting from under your rib basket, we're gonna dive forward. So we wanna have some breath in the back side of the knees. We're lifting from under the ribs. As we exhale, really rounding and opening the spine. It's okay to bend your knees a little bit. We're gonna do 4 steps with our hands to walk out. We're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4. At the top, we're gonna be in a plank position. We're gonna do a small push-up here, keeping the collarbones wide, keeping the middle back active. Lengthen back up to your plank, and here we go. We're gonna nod the chin, roll the spine. 1, 2, 3, 4. Come all the way up. Arms reach alongside the ears. Exhale, lower into your best squat. The hips hinge back first. Inhale, rising up. We're gonna go into the push-up again. Exhale, round and nod. Lengthening through the back line of the body. That band around our ankles, 4 steps with your hands. The band around the ankles is simply giving us some feedback through the outer or lateral lines of the body. We're gonna exhale, lower down. Inhale, lengthen up. Stepping back with a round spine. 1, 2, 3, 4. Feet go flat. Unwind, arms float alongside the ears. Exhale, hinging at the hips. Knees come in front of the ankle crease. This is an exhale here. Inhale as we rise up. Let's go again. We're gonna exhale, round as we curl. Lift from under the ribs, finding that length in the body, even in flexion. 1, 2, 3, 4 with the hands. Exhale as you lower down. Inhale, bring it up. Good news, we're gonna stay here. Exhale, lower down, sending your heart between the shoulder blades. Inhale to bring it up. Let's do 2 more. Exhale as we lower down. Inhale for length, last one. Exhaling with control. Inhale, lengthen up. We're gonna walk the hands back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Feet go flat. Rising all the way up, lowering into a squat. Exhale as we lower down. Hold and breathe, isometric challenge here. I like the hands alongside the ears. You can bring them out to the sides if that feels aggressive, or onto your hips. So do what works for your body this morning. Nice long spine, ribs are in line with the pelvis. Check your knees are just in front of your ankle crease, aligning big toe, second toe. Check that you have equal weight across the soles of your feet. We're just gonna do a nice isometric hold here. We're gonna reach a little bit lower as if we were sitting back into a seat. So don't worry about only going straight down. We wanna make sure we're lengthening down. Inner thighs are spiraling up for 4, for 3, holding and breathing for 2. Don't go anywhere. We're gonna stay in this squat. Peel the right heel up off the floor and then send it back down. You wanna send your bones through the floor and draw your muscle pants up. And then we're gonna pick up the left heel. The left inner thigh invites the left heel off the floor, and then imprint it back down. Go ahead with the right heel again. Right heel picks up and imprint it back down. Guess what? Right foot again. You gotta pay attention. Don't just alternate sides. You gotta pay attention. Stay in your body. Stay connected. Right foot again. Don't worry, I'm counting. You don't have to. Reach the right hip back as the right heel floats up. Send the right heel through the floor. Left heel picks up and set it back down. Left heel again and set it back down. Right heel, pick the right heel up and set it back down. Left side, peeling the left heel up, drawing the navel up and in, sending the heel bone through the floor as the muscle pants draw up. Left heel again. Send it all the way through the floor. Now that we've got the ankles warmed up, do not change your height or your position in space. We're gonna float both heels up onto the balls of our feet. Draw the navel up and in, holding here, making sure we have equal weight across the balls of both feet. For my body, my knees wanted to tip in, so send the inner thighs out a little bit to keep your knees aligned, big toe, second toe. And play around with your heel height. So I don't want you to pop all the way up on top of the tippy toes, but play around with the height of your heels by about ½ an inch or so and find your sweet spot, your most challenging position. Arms can always come up and overhead for additional cardio challenge. It's a great idea to encourage mobility through the shoulder blades, holding and breathing for 5. Get a little bit longer with the spine and lower. Last 3. This is 2. And with control, gang, the feet go all the way flat. Balance the weight in the heels. Inhale as you come all the way up. All right, we're gonna keep that band right where it is, but we're gonna go into a little weight shift with a plie. So that means we're gonna keep the sternum over the pubic bone rather than bowing forward. So feet are flat, and if you don't have that band, no big deal, you can do the same thing. We're gonna bend the knees with our torso upright. From here, rather than rolling, we're gonna think about the right foot picking up entirely, just a paper's width off the floor, and then set it back down. And then the left foot picks up and set it back down. So straight away, you're gonna feel that while it looks like a leg exercise to the outside world, you're gonna feel that your core is actually really keeping you organized and balanced while you're lifting one leg up. So it's a weight shift as we work, lifting and lowering. The entire sole of the foot comes up and sets it back down. See on these next few, if you can send your body less into a shift. So can you keep your torso more centered, and you'll feel even more core activation now that you've got the hang of the movement. So we have a soft bend to the knees. Keep working. I'm going to show you from the profile. The torso is staying upright as we simply shift our weight from one foot and then back to the other, really activating through the inner line of the body by keeping the torso upright and activating the lateral line by shifting the weight and by inviting more feedback from that band if you have one. Let's go for 4. This is 3. Arms can always go out for additional cardio challenge. This is 2. And this is our last one. Both feet come flat. Inhale and rise all the way up. All right, let's go ahead and take that band, sliding it above your knees. So again, you don't have to have one, but if you have either a loop or a band tied into a bow, we're gonna slide it above the knees, and let's go ahead and lay onto the floor. We're gonna come onto our back, and we're gonna go into some arm arcs and abdominal curls in a windshield wiper orientation today. So lay all the way down onto your back, your knees are bent, and you wanna keep at least 4 inches between your thighs, because what happens there is that gives us the feedback on that band rather than tipping the knees in. The knees should not be touching. So think about the inner thighs spiraling open, and you feel activation all the way to the glute med, even when you're laying on your back. So here we go, guys. Using your psoas, your deep abdominals, talking to your inner thighs, draw the legs up into a tabletop position, keeping a neutral spine. We want length on the low back, length on the front body and the side body. From here, keeping the spacing between the feet and the knees. You might notice that your feet want to kind of smash together. Find that spacing, arms float up. We are going to tip the knees and the pelvis to the left. So my right hip picked up just a little bit, and now my arms are gonna tip towards the right. Legs are tipped towards the left, arms are tipped towards the right. I like the palms to touch. If that's not comfortable for you, keep them more open. Here we go. We're gonna inhale as we rise. And now my left hand is grazing the outer right thigh. My left shoulder blade has picked up, and then we're gonna set it all the way back down. The legs don't move, they're gonna hold in that rotated orientation, getting deep into the waistline as we work. We're gonna inhale as we come up, exhale as we lower down. Finding space between the feet and the knees and the thighs the whole time. You're gonna find resistance on that band if you have one. Exhale to lower down. Inhale as we bring it up. Exhale as we lower down. Last 3 here. As you rise up, try not to mash your low back onto the floor. You want to keep that space even when we are rotated and flexing up. This is last 2. Lengthen with an inhale and reach. Exhale, bring it back down. This is going to be the last one. Inhale as you bring it up. Exhale as you bring it down. Unwind through center, the arms and the legs, and bring the hands underneath the base of the skull straight away. So my hands are interlaced beneath the base of the skull, and we're gonna swivel the inner thighs open so that the heels are touching, toes are turned out, knees are outbound. If you have a band, you should feel a really good amount of resistance on there. We're gonna peel the head, neck, and shoulders up off of the floor without adding wrinkles to the front side of your body or your t-shirt. Here we go, guys. Inhale, legs go long, keep resistance on that band. Exhale as the knees soften, draw it in. Inhale, legs go long. Exhale, bring it in. So my heels are actively imprinting together as we work. The inhale breath is asking the hamstrings and the deep abdominals to send the legs long. The exhale is inviting the inner thighs and the psoas to work together to bring the legs back to that tabletop position. The heels being pressed together activates the midline of the body, so the inner thighs, deep belly, pelvic floor, while that band and that external rotation is helping us to find the outer line of the body. Let's go for 2 more here. Inhale as we extend, exhaling as we bend. This is our last one. Inhale as we extend, exhale as we bend. Hold, head goes all the way down, arms come up, and we're gonna swivel the legs back to that parallel position. It's getting a little heat built up on the sides, isn't it? From here, we're gonna tip the knees and the pelvis to the left, just a little bit. Tip the arms and the shoulders to the right. Here we go. Inhale as we rise up. Your hands can come together if that feels good for you. Keep space between the knees and the feet. Exhale as we roll down. So it's like we're kind of wringing out a towel a little bit through our waistline. We're really finding that corkscrew orientation as we inhale, lengthen and come up. Exhale as we lower down. Inhale, lengthen and reach, peeling your right shoulder blade up and off the floor. Exhale as we lower down. Just a few more here, guys. Find that length on the low back even as we rise. Last 2. Inhaling to come up. Exhale as we lower down. This is going to be our last one. Exhale as we lower down with control. Center everything out with control. Arms come down and feet lower to the floor. Let's go ahead and go into some clamming while we got that band. So we're gonna come onto our side. You can lay all the way down with your ear resting on your biceps. Your arm would be all the way flat, or you can stay up on your forearm. We're gonna take our heels together again and already in an externally rotated position. We wanna have length in the waistline, see the bottom ribs float up. That's what we want the whole time. Heels are magnetized to find the inner line of the body, and that bottom leg is not getting a free ride. That bottom leg should really be being sent through the mat below you as we open the top leg and bring it back down. We're gonna open the top leg, and it's not because we're flapping the knee, guys. It's that inner thigh spiraling into the band. So even if you don't have a band, visualize that in your mind's eye. It's that inner thigh spiraling into the band as we work. Visualize that femur bone rotating like a doorknob, okay? So the pelvis is stacked, the ribs are lifted. I was starting to kind of hang down into my bottom ribs as I was so sincerely focused on the leg. You wanna find everything maintaining control. You can always send that left arm up if you'd like to. Think about lifting off of your ribs and the bottom shoulder. Thinking about the bottom leg melting through the floor with intention. Last 3. This is 2. We're gonna go into a lateral raise. And last one in a clam orientation, hold. Now everybody's gonna go all the way down, even if you were up. If you're down, stay there. We're gonna bring our legs into a 90-degree bend. My right ear is now on the right biceps. Both knees are bent, both knees are flexed. And the heels are also flexed, feet are flexed. From here, guys, lateral raise and bring it back. So I did not turn into external rotation at all. So it might be a smaller range of movement, that's fine. You should feel lots of heat through the lateral line of the leg. I like to think about my thigh bone as like a toothpick going into a little cube of tofu or cheese if you prefer, whatever works for you. A little raise and a little lower. Notice I'm trying to keep the ankle and the knee in alignment. That is tough to do. Let's go for 2 more here, gang. Flex the feet strongly. Last one, and bring the leg all the way down. All right, go ahead and rise up. Let's lose the band just for a quick moment. And we're gonna go into a donkey kick. So the band goes down onto the floor, and we're going to come onto our hands and our knees in a 4-point kneeling position. From here, we are going to float the left leg long behind us. So lengthen the left leg long, 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 long. Once you have no more length to give, that's when we ask the back line of the body with the core to float the leg long. I don't care if it's the same height as your hip. We want to make sure that we don't allow the low back to shorten and the abdominals to spill forward like this. So get your leg as long as you can, get your leg as high as you can, staying organized. Now we're going to flex the foot as we draw that knee into a deep bend. Again, it's not about hitting a shape. I don't care if it's a 90-90 bend. That's not what we're after. We want to do what you can, bend a lot while staying organized. I'm going to ask you to bring your left knee and inner thigh in towards the midline of the body a little bit more so we find more core connection. Now we're ready to move. Little tiny reach. I don't want you to think about your foot stamping on the floor today. I want you to think about your left knee reaching through the wall behind you as you float the leg a tiny touch higher. So think about length rather than kind of a grip or a squeeze with your booty, all right? So we're thinking about flexing the foot, stretching that left kneecap long. Last 4, we're there already. Last 3, reach long through the low back, tailbone reaching long from the crown of the head. Last 1, and bring that knee all the way down. All right, let's go ahead and go into a plank position here. And I'm gonna ask you today to bring your knees and shins down onto the mat and your forearms down. So it seems a little counterintuitive that this is going to be a sincere challenge, but it really is, because we're not bracing with our elbows or with our legs. We're not hanging out in the knees or the elbows. And straight away, you should probably feel a really nice challenge through the deep abs. It's gonna feel different than a plank on your hands and your feet because we're getting deeper. We're getting into the transverse abdominis. Notice that my body is in a diagonal line even on my knees, so my booty isn't sticking up and my hips aren't hanging down towards the floor. We're finding our best long diagonal line. Make sure you're finding breath between the shoulder blades. So we wanna reach the heart between the shoulder blades. Every inhale adds broadness across the collarbones. Let's go for 4. Last 3, find lots of breath and length. Last 2, and with control, we're gonna come up onto the knees and take our hands off the floor. Let's go ahead and grab that band. I'm gonna ask for deep flexion of the knees. You can see I'm seated all the way down onto my heels. If that's not for your body, simply come up higher, and you can always double up your mat to protect your knees, okay? We're gonna take our band just below the wrists. Again, not right on the joints, we're gonna be just below the wrists, and we're gonna find some resistance. So the idea is to frame the shoulders and have your elbows in line with your hands. That should feel like a lot of heat through the middle back, arms and shoulders already. The temptation is gonna have it look like this really quickly, mine too. So see if you can't keep it in that nice square frame the whole time we're efforting. Here we go. Feet are 4 inches apart, knees are 4 inches apart, parallel. We're gonna exhale as we lower down onto our heels. Keep your torso upright, shoulder blades melt down, hands float up a bit. And then as we inhale, we're gonna allow the arms to come back to starts just below the shoulders. Exhale, torso stays upright. That's how we get really sincere core activation. Shoulder blades melt down. Inhale as you rise. So if you were doing an upper body jump on a WundaFormer, you would notice that we want the lift on the inhale and the rise. Exhale as you lower. Keep working with your band. I'm just gonna demonstrate something here. We wanna think about the ribs lifting off of the pelvis as we inhale and come up. That's how we get away from the quads taking over for all the work. We find the lift, the breath, the length, and then we wanna crease from under our seat at the top, opening the front side of the hips. Exhale, sitting bones broad and on the way down. Hands are floating up. If you don't have a band and you do have something like dumbbells or soup cans or wine bottles nearby, you can always use those as well to give you some resistance through this exercise. Inhaling as we come up, exhaling as we lower down. We're gonna hold this next one about halfway down. So hold this next one about halfway. So you should feel some good length and stretch and effort through the front side of the legs. You should feel really sincere core effort. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna hold the knees and thighs exactly where they are. And then we're gonna hinge back at the pelvis. Arms are quiet. They're just isometrically holding that band. Find that length, find that hinge. Keeping your legs quiet, now we're gonna bring it back to upright. Inhale for length. Think about the psoas, your suspender muscles on the front drawing up as your tailbone melts down. And then exhaling as we bring it back up. 2 more like that. Shins are heavy into the floor. That helps us find our low belly. Inhale as you lengthen. Exhale as you bring it down. This is our last one. Inhale as you lengthen, efforting all the way up and down the body. Exhale as we bring it back to start, and go ahead and release that band. Let's take care of that donkey kick on the other side. Hands come onto the mat, 4-point kneeling orientation. Collarbones come wide. Make sure we're not hanging in the shoulder joints like this. So send your heart between the shoulder blades. Right leg reaches long first. We want to aim for that length first. Swivel the right inner thigh to the sky. That's going to help you find your low belly and midline of the body. Now we are lengthening the leg up again. Doesn't matter how high. Pay attention to your low back. Pay attention to your abdominal connection. We're going to reach the right kneecap long behind us, flex the right foot, and once you find that nice challenging orientation for your body, bring your right knee in to the midline of the body a little bit more, find your inner thigh core connection. Here we go. Right kneecap reaches, and that is what sends the leg up a little bit. Right kneecap, right thigh reaches long as if you could stretch that thigh bone, stretch your femur bone. As the leg goes upbound, we want to make sure that it doesn't result in a shortening of the lower back or of the abs spilling forward. So it shouldn't look like this. Bam, that is not what we're after. I don't care how high your foot goes at all. I care about staying organized and length. That's how you're gonna get better results and protect your spine and condition your core. Oh, and lift your booty too. All right, guys, let's go for 3 more here. Flex the foot sincerely, reach the knee long, crown of the head long from the tailbone, looking down at the mat. And with control, unfold the leg, leg goes back down, and slide the knee in. All right, let's get that band back on. We're gonna go into our lateral raise. So we're gonna take the band above the knees if you have it. Comes above the knee joint by a few inches. We're gonna lay down on our left side this time. Our biceps are a little pillow for our left ear, and we have our legs in about a 90-degree bend. Knees are about hip height, but we're gonna lengthen the waistline, not rest onto the bottom of the mat. Bottom leg is active, top leg floats up, hold. This is start and stop. They're not gonna touch through the series. This is start and stop with space through the legs and the knees and the feet. Here we go. Inhale, again, that toothpick is dipping down into the pelvis, and bring it back. Inhale, femur head sinks deeply into the pelvis, and bring it back to start. It doesn't have to be a great big range of movement. I'm moving maybe 2 or 3 inches at the most. You want to just stay organized. So it's not about really moving such a huge range of movement. It's about staying organized and getting the depth of the work. Inhaling as we float it up. Try to keep your ankle, knee, and hip on the same plane. So they want to be parallel the whole time. We're not going into external rotation yet. Let's go for 3. Reach the top hip long. Try not to rest your ribs into the floor. They might touch, totally fine. You just don't want to allow them to collapse or rest. This is the last one. Hold here. We're going to go into a clamming orientation. If it's better for your neck and shoulder, you can stay with your head down like so. And if you want to go for a little more balance challenge and cardio challenge, you can bring your left arm up. So entirely up to you. Heels are raised, bottom leg is actively imprinting into the floor. And now we're gonna swivel the upper inner thighs forward and bring it back. So again, the knees are never closing, the heels are glued together, and we want the bottom ribs not to hang towards the floor. Find lots of length in the body. Really swiveling open the thighs. So that's the focus here. It's the inner thigh spiraling into that band. Even if you don't have one, imagine what that would feel like if you were spiraling the inner thigh outbound and it was greeting some resistance on the way. Last 4. Last 3. This is 2. And this is 1. Allow the legs to come back together. We're gonna flip over onto our back and we're gonna go into some leg reaches again with that band. So coming all the way down onto your back, we're gonna have our arms interlaced behind the base of the skull, or fingertips rather. Using the deep abdominals, we're going to float the legs up into a tabletop position. All right, from here, we're gonna inhale as we extend. Now we're in parallel. Before we were in turnout. Exhale as we bend and bring it back in. Inhale, hamstrings, deliver the legs long with the abdominals. Inner thighs and the abdominals, bring it in. If you want a deeper abdominal curl, you can lengthen the body up and reach the shoulder blades off of the floor. We're inhaling to extend. The lower your legs go, the deeper the ab challenge, but also the more intense of an ask of your low back. So if that doesn't work for you or your body today, you can always do a smaller range of movement in and out. Let's go for 2 more here. We're not gonna be done in this position. We're just gonna change the ask. This is the last one with the legs long. Hold. Knees stay bent. Knees are aligned, big toe, second toe. We're now gonna move from the hip crease. We are going to exhale as we lower down. Inhale, femur heads sink deeply into the pelvis as you bring it back up. Exhale as you lower down here today. Inhale as you bring it back up. Exhaling as we lower down. Inhale to bring it back up. Last 2. Try to keep the knee angle the same. Last 1 with control. Head goes all the way down, arms come down and legs come down. All right, let's come up. We're gonna ditch that band for good. We're on our home stretch, guys. Let's go ahead and go into a Wunda twist because it's one of my favorites and it's Wednesday. Maybe not, Thursday, I don't know. I've lost track at this point. We're gonna have our hands wide on the mat. Step your feet back 1 foot at a time, 4 inches apart parallel. Right foot comes in front of the left. We're gonna do this in a flat back orientation today. So we're starting in a twisted position. We're gonna inhale as we spiral the pelvis to the floor and send the weight back. And then we're gonna exhale today as we come forward. We're gonna do 2 more like that. Inhale as you lengthen. Try not to ride through the shoulder joint. Think about the pelvis as your keystone of movement. Inhaling as we lengthen back. Exhaling as we bring it into the plank. Hold. All we're gonna do is flip our breath. Now inhale for length here. Now we're gonna exhale. Think about wringing out a towel as we lengthen back on an exhale. Inhale. Think about reaching your breath from your toes through the crown of the head for length. Exhale as you swivel. Up and back. Inhale for length. We're gonna do 1 more with that breath pattern. Exhale as you come up and back. Inhale as you reach forward. Hold that twisted plank for 4, for 3, last 2, and bring it all the way in. Okay, we're gonna come up onto our feet. We're gonna go into a plie jump and then we'll get the Wunda twist on the other side. Step into a wide turned out position. Your feet are wider than your shoulders and your toes are in turnout. From here, exhale as we lower down. Inhale as we come up. So let's just get the hang of that movement. Exhaling as we lower down. Inhale as we come up. I like to add the arms here. So we're going to lower down and then we're gonna inhale, reach, 1 foot floats off the floor. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, reach, the other foot floats off the floor. So it's similar to the weight shifts we started with. It doesn't need to be a big range of movement and it's certainly not a side kick. It's a long X. Inhaling as we reach. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lengthen, reach. Exhale, lower down. If that's aggressive on your shoulders or for your body, you can always bring the hands to the hips. If you do have dumbbells and you're feeling like you want to really get after it today, go for it. They can be in your hands. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, lower down. Just a few more here, guys. Exhale to lower. Inhale as we reach. Try to keep that weight shift small. Keep it controlled so that you feel that core lifting your leg off of the floor, balancing your weight on one leg. Let's go 1 more to the right. Exhale through center. 1 more to the left. Exhale through center. Hold and breathe here. Both heels come up just for fun. Arms come up for 6. For 5, get a little bit lower in that plie. 4, play around with your heel height. Find your shaky spot. Last 2. Arms lower down, heels come down, and rise up. Let's get that Wunda twist the other side. So hands come to the top of the mat. This time we're gonna put the left foot in front of the right. Twisted plank orientation to start with. Let's go with our exhale breath up and back this time. Here we go. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, think about your pelvis. Is that keystone reaching as you swivel? Pelvis is now shining towards the mat. Inhale, use that breath for length all the way up and down the spine. Add softness to the elbows. Exhale as you reach up and back. Inhale as you come forward. In class, I would ask you not to ride the wheels. On the mat, I'm asking you not to ride your shoulder joints. We're gonna hold this next one out. Hold and breathe, change your breath pattern. So we're gonna exhale to prepare. Now we're gonna inhale, using it for length on our spine as we swivel up and back. Exhale, wringing out through the waistline. Inhale as we lengthen like we have a seatbelt under our pelvis. Unwinding on your exhale. Inhale as you reach for length. Outer thighs are magnetized. Exhale here, this is the last one. Inhale as you come up and back with control. Exhale as you unwind and bring the knees down. Beautiful job today, guys. Let's go ahead and go into a side bend for our stretches today. So we're gonna sit down on our left hip, left knee is bent, right knee is bent, and we're gonna bring the left arm to the floor, open the right arm, really just lengthen through the side body, sending breath to any areas of tightness. Come up through the center. Let's go into a child's pose. We're gonna have our big toes touching. You can go ahead and have your knees wide and send your arms long in front of you. I like to think of the inhale adding space between my low back and my upper back, really adding length in the body, sinking deeply into the hips. Go ahead, let's shift to the other side for that side bend stretch. We're gonna sit on our right hip. Left leg is folded as well. Right arm comes to the floor as we arc over, lengthening through the side body, stretching through the waistline and the hips. Nice deep breath here. Go ahead and rise all the way up. Amazing work, everybody. I will see you next time.